you know, a lot of people complain that the game's rigged. And the game is rigged. Do you know what I mean? Like the game is decided by people, you know, who are in much more fortunate positions than most of the world. And they, again, have a great understanding of all the loopholes in the system because they created the system and they use it to their advantage. I don't hate from outside the club. I want to be inside the club.
You want to be inside the club,
inside the club. I want to understand the rules that are played in that club.
Welcome to the Takeoff Experience, where I sit down with highly driven people to talk about their journey, their failures, and their successes. If you want to take off in your career, your business, your finances, or your mindset, then this podcast is for you. This episode is sponsored by Money Hub, a platform that allows you to see all of your current accounts in one place and also provides you with smart money management tools to help you get right with your money. Welcome back to the Takeoff. Joining us in the booth this week is Sodiq, who specializes in helping parents with their finances, insurance, and estate planning. I hope y'all are ready for the gems that are going to be dropped today. How are you doing today, Sodiq?
Yeah, bro, I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited to speak to the people. Hopefully we'll say something and people will be impacted for the best, bro. But I'm excited. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to happen. But, you know, before we get into that, I have to ask you this first question.
Yeah.
What is your worst financial mistake?
Do you know what? I can't really pinpoint my worst financial mistake. I would say it was a series of mistakes that I made as a teenager.
Okay.
Just getting certain credit cards out, taking certain loans, and not really understanding the impact that they'll have in the future. So I was just quite carefree, to be honest with you. Like most people coming out of uni, you take on all the money, you know, go and do a bit of shopping. You think you can handle everything, and before you know it, you're flooded with debt. And so that was the case for me, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't pinpoint one specific decision, but I think it was a series of decisions that culminated to me realizing that something had to change.
Okay. Wow. And at what point were you like, okay, cool, I can't deal with this anymore. I need to like stop these bad habits. What did something happen?
Yeah, well, I mean, the strange thing is, I think I caught realization quite late. So for me, it was, you know, being in a place where I actually got married, and post marriage, I was like, do you know what? I've spent most of my teenage years in a cycle of debt. So probably throughout my 20s to about 27, 28, I've been in a cycle of debt.
Okay.
And for me, it was like I reached to a point when I was like, I sat down with my wife and I was like, what are we going to do to change this? Because we can't live the next 10 years of our life how we live this series of our life.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was at that point that I was just like, I'm done. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just can't be in this position no more. I started thinking about what I want for my future, and what I wanted my future to look like with my kids, what I wanted my future to look like with my wife. And I just had to make a plan, and I had to get onto it. Really.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's epic, man. Yeah. I love stories. I love hearing stories like that because I feel like you get to hear about adversity. You get to hear, because you know life is never just a straight journey. It's never a smooth journey. So 100. I love that you were able to get out of that cycle of debt, and I hope like other people have that inspiration from you. You know, for me, I never said this, but the podcast for me really is what we're trying to do is we want to inspire, we want to educate, we want to keep it real. 100%. So, you know, with that story, I think it helps both inspire and it helps also to educate. But I wanted to get to know you a bit more.
Yeah.
Who is Sodiq?
Well, Sodiq Suleman is a child of God. That's how I first like to introduce myself. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a friend to a few people that can handle my crazy ways. But yeah, that's generally who I am. I'm the type of person that likes to help people, likes to inspire people, likes to push people to be better. And I think I say one or two things that helps people make better decisions sometimes: personal, financial, relationships, a bit of everything. So that's a bit about me, you know, born and raised in London, England. Schooled originally in South London, Brixton. Didn't get into no schools in South London because, you know, academically I didn't perform to the standard they wanted. So parents shipped me over to a secondary school in Northwest London.
Wow.
So
you're traveling from South to
Northwest London.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So from Brixton to St John's Wood. in that area. So
Wow.
I schooled in that area. And yeah, I mean, the school was okay for me. I had a good time in school. Some would say too much of a good time. So much of a good time we didn't get good grades, unfortunately. So we spent most of our time, or I spent most of my time enjoying myself rather than focusing. But thankfully along the way, got a bit of focus, got a bit of clarity about what I wanted to do, and I've made strides. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that bus journey. Did you? Or
No,
did
it
you
wasn't
take
a
the
bus,
tube?
bro.
Was
It was
it
a tube, bro. It was a tube.
Did the
bro.
tube
It
at that
was a
age?
tube.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what?
Crazy.
And the funny thing is, now I'm a prolific tube traveler, so I prefer to be on public transport than in cars and vehicles and
Really?
stuff like that. I actually don't mind public transport.
Is it?
A lot of
Oh,
people are in a
man.
rush to get in a car, buy their
Yeah.
car, do all of that things. But not me personally. I don't actually mind public transport. I just think I could just chill. I could just take like a beautiful day, like
Yeah.
sit on a bus, take it in
Yeah.
the sun. Call me crazy. It's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you know what? Like, I don't mind public transport that much. It's only when it gets packed. That's when it's like, I can't deal with it. But I would prefer to take it if I can, because with driving, I have to focus, like coming here to the studio today.
Yeah.
So, wow.
It's getting expensive now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very, very, very expensive. So you mentioned you went to school. Did you college? Did you do university as well?
So I did college. So I did school, did college, did university. I would say did university about 3 times again. First went to try and study psychology. Didn't enjoy psychology. Then went to study events management. Didn't knuckle down and focus in events management, and then finally went to study business management, and to be honest with you, didn't knuckle down in that either. So I like to keep it real. Academically, it wasn't the smoothest journey for me. I think I'm a person that I like to learn things practically. So I'm a very fly on the wall type learner. So maybe not necessarily passing tests and passing exams, but where I flourish is if we have a conversation and you say something and I like what you said, I'll retain that information, go and do research and apply it on a day-to-day basis. So that's really where my strength was. So academically wasn't the best, but still managed to get myself places, I think.
Yeah. It's interesting because the more you said what you just said, I was just thinking like university, college. College actually is all right.
Yeah.
You get to do BTEC, right? You don't have to do the A level. BTECs are more like practical, but uni, they don't really give you a choice.
No.
It's
no.
you got to do the educational route. You got to do the exams.
They
and
are
all that sort of
changing now
stuff.
because now they've got degrees, apprenticeship degrees.
That's true. I don't really know much about that.
You can do a degree, and you can work at the same time. And you can qualify and study at the same time. So the knowledge that you're getting in the university, you actually get to apply it on a day-to-day in whatever environment you're in. So I think the education system is adapting, be it slow, but they are adapting. I think
they need to.
I mean, I think it's said that we're quite behind compared to everyone else. And I always say that the initial education system, from my understanding, was built for factory workers. It was built so that people would, fall in line, going into school, clocking in, clocking out.
That's true.
And produce workers. Do you know what I mean? It's not really there to produce people who will think freely, be entrepreneurial and pursue whatever they want to pursue. It's designed to make people think a certain way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. Because when I think I done all right at uni, but I definitely feel like I learn through from a visual perspective. I'm a visual learner. I don't like sitting down and just reading books. Honestly, it takes me a while to get through a book. It's just not the way I like to learn, either a podcast or either watching or doing. Those are the ways. But reading I find it boring.
We're brothers in that one. We sharing that.
Oh man. Okay. So after uni, what happened after then? Did you just go straight into work?
I mean, my first job after uni was it was uni. Just whilst I was in uni, I was working in a phone shop. So I was working for not car phone warehouse. It was Orange at the time.
Okay. I remember Orange.
It came T-Mobile. So I worked in Orange. That was a fun job. Customer service based. Interacting with people, so got to build a little bit of confidence, got to know about myself a little bit, and then after that I went to work for Sodiq, and in Sodiq I done a bit of project office work with Sodiq, essentially. That kind of accelerated my career from there.
Wow. So you ended up doing a bit, and then from there, where did you get to? How did you get to where you are now in terms of from the career
from
point
there
of
it
view?
was just career wise what I do mainly is project management.
Okay.
So that's really my day-to-day gig is project management. So it's just a case of working with various companies, getting training on the job, doing a couple short courses as opposed to long term.
Did that actually help
yeah,
you
the short courses are okay because it allows you to focus. So you get a sense of focus, and then you build from there, if that makes sense. And you're using exactly what you're learning on a day-to-day basis because I'm doing it and I need it practically. So the short courses were helpful, and they were courses that were recognized for the industry that I was in, essentially. So I did those courses and just accelerated in that field, basically, project management.
Wow, that's cool. I'm in the tech space as well, and your project management is definitely one of the highly paid professions to get into.
That's it.
So you started off doing project office, and you started doing short courses,
Yeah.
and then did they just say, you know what, Sodiq, you've got a chance here just to do a project, see how it runs?
Do you know what it is? It's putting your best foot forward, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I think what I always say to people is that you have to be willing to do a bit of free work to get into the paid workspace.
That's true.
You have to show them that you're ready to add value, show them that you're ready to learn, especially if you're trying to, do something that you haven't necessarily done in the space before. The first step for me is always proving yourself able with the task that you're given. And then once you've proved yourself efficient with the task that you're given, they will start to trust you with a little bit more. And, you have reviews with your manager. You can tell your manager, I'm interested in doing this, I'm interested in doing that. And when you show that sense of initiative, then they start to give you opportunities to pursue little things. And, as long as it doesn't interrupt your day-to-day work, your business as usual, then most companies are willing to try you out with smaller things, but you have to make sure that your main job doesn't suffer, essentially.
Cool.
Where
did that drive come from? Because I'm trying to compare where you were at uni to now getting into the working life. You're like, okay, cool, now I'm gonna work hard and do all of this.
Do you know what it is? I think I would definitely say a lot of it came from my faith personally, because I was grounded in my faith. And being grounded in my faith, I was surrounded by a lot more people who had a lot more focus, who had a lot more ambition. And I was starting to be surrounded by people that, were making money. You know what I mean? And they were doing different things, and that was inspiring for me. And so when I saw them doing it, and then I realized that I could do it as well, because one of the things that I've always been really good at is, there's two things that I'm really good at. Number one is talking. I can talk for days. And then number two is I'm good at making sure people do what they're supposed to do. It's just something that I've always been able to do. If you say you're going to do something, I'm the guy that's going to kick you up the arse to make sure you get it done. So for me, project management was an easy fit, because that's essentially what project management is. It's about making sure everybody's doing what they say they're going to do. And then you've got the strategic piece to it, is about how everyone's working together, not working in silos to achieve what you have to achieve. And I've always been, in church, I've done a lot of youth work in church. I managed a lot of events in church as well. So I was able to translate that from the church world to the professional world.
That makes sense.
So that was the church, growing up in church and having those opportunities in church really opened my eyes up to what I could be in the real world.
Wow. And I'm sure you picked up a lot of stuff as well. Also with church, so you added what you were doing, the practicality of stuff that you're doing in church with, even though you said that you kind of failed uni, but you still learned stuff, right? The event stuff, business and all that.
The thing about it is I've never wasted any experience that I've had. Every single thing that I've done, the small time that I did it, I picked up something that I still use to today. You know what I mean? So psychology, you're learning about human behavior. That's something that I deal in every day. Events management, it's all the management process. You can translate it to the work that we're doing in project management. And then you got business management. It's all translatable. I personally don't think nothing has ever been wasted in my life. No experience, no loss, no gain, no failure has ever been wasted. Everything is a lesson learned for me personally.
I love that, because I feel like I was speaking to somebody about this on Instagram, and I think for a lot of young people, they're scared to fail because once they fail, that's it. They feel like they fail for the rest of their life. And like hopefully we have a long life. So you gotta just you learn, right? Compared to when you're younger, you just do stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you were a child, you will just do 100%. Stuff, and you don't care like 100%. What the consequences were. You just do it. You know, and at some point we got conditioned into thinking, actually, like you can't fail. If you fail, that's it, the end, over. And I just don't think life is like that. Sometimes things are not going to work out. 1, you learn from it, and then you can, get better.
1000%. I completely agree with you. I think, especially young people, I would say to young people that you are at that stage when you can afford, to make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Once you start getting responsibilities, for example, I was speaking to, my brother, and he actually he was doing an degree apprenticeship, and he said he wants to leave the degree apprenticeship and he wants to do something else.
Okay.
And, my dad is a man that is a very, very, very firm man. Once you say you're doing something, he wants you to, commit all the way to it. And whilst I do understand him in one sense, because we've got to have resilience, and we can't be people that give up easily. So I do encourage that. But what I said to my brother was, you know what, like you're 18, do you know what I mean? Well, actually, you're not 18, you're 20, do you know what I mean? But you have time.
Yeah,
do you understand what
that's
I'm saying?
True.
You can make a mistake. You can build another career every 3 years.
Very true.
You can actually, if you're disciplined, if you're someone that can, somebody that knows how to engage with people, you're somebody knows how to focus and work, you can build another career every 3 years.
Yeah.
So for me, he's at the stage where he doesn't have children, he doesn't have a wife, you don't have bills. So if you're gonna jump, this is the best time to jump.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? Why wait until later? And especially failure is temporary. Do you know what I mean? Failure is just a momentary occurrence. You can't be defined by what you weren't able to do, because there's so much more that you can learn about yourself. There's so much more that you can do, so much more that you can grow. And for me, it's just a learning opportunity. As you said, failure is an opportunity to learn. What did I do wrong? What mistakes did I make? Let's go again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's go again. You can't mope around. Do you know what I mean? I feel we're in a generation where, resilience isn't the strongest. And, once they're defeated, things like anxiety, depression, stress. But on most occasions, unless it's hormonal, because there's hormonal things that are, chemical imbalances. Unless it's a chemical imbalance, then you can pick yourself up and you can try again. Aaliyah said it best: if you're first, dust that bad boy off and try again.
Yeah, I love that.
Maybe we need more Aaliyah in this generation.
Yeah, definitely. I love that bar. I was wondering, where are your parents from actually?
So my parents are both from Nigeria.
Okay. Putting that Nigeria, you must do this, right? This is the route you gotta go.
We're from the Nigerian heritage. That, and again, we came over, first generation from Nigeria, from Africa.
Okay.
And again, the whole mindset was, you have to go to university, you have to go and study, get a good job, and when you study and get a good job, that's when everything will work out for you, and you have the best of all things. And fast forward a few years later, and the storylines changed, and the narrative,
more education and knowledge, right?
The narrative that my dad was pushing then is not the same narrative he's pushing now. I think he's learnt a bit, but that's just exposure. I think, and for me, I always say that my dad, I learned so much from his life personally, because there were certain mistakes he made, or certain areas that he was very cautious in, that have taught me, you don't need to be as cautious as he was, because if he wasn't so cautious, and if he had better advice at that time, he would have made better decisions. And we as a family, we would have been better off, and him as a person would have been better off. He's still good now, but having people give you bad advice from a good heart, where they actually think they're saying something that will benefit you. They actually do care about you. They don't hate you, but they just don't have no experience or no knowledge on the subject matter, and you're following them. It can be dangerous.
It can be
Yeah.
very dangerous. You know what? Because like it's so tough, because when I think about like our parents, because my parents is also from Nigeria and Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
and they also
Jeez.
moved. Yeah, thank you. They also moved abroad to here,
Yeah.
to the UK, and I just feel like the systems are different from
Yeah.
where they are, and the information was different. We're lucky,
100%.
right? We've now got Instagram, we've got YouTube, we've got people like yourselves,
100%.
you know. We got podcasts, all of this stuff now that we're sharing. Actually, you know,
100%.
financial education, you
Yep.
know, estate planning, which we're going to be talking about today.
Yep.
You know, life insurance, investing, all of these aspects. I just feel like they just didn't have this at their disposal
At all.
you know.
At all.
So I half don't blame them
At
in
all.
that aspect.
At
you
all.
know,
No. I don't think we can ever blame them. I think they did the best they could with what they had.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, I think they done half the job. You know, not that I think this country is the best country in the world, but I mean there are more opportunities here than back home. So they done half the job by getting us to this country. The rest is for us to do. Essentially.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
their job was to get us here, get us a decent education, help us to, you know, have the foundation to make good decisions so that we can, you know, have a better future. And I think, you know, I look at, you know, a lot of my peers and, you know, the people that I'm surrounded by, and I'm looking at their children and I'm like you're gonna have it so good. Do you know what I mean? Because now we have information, we're taking action, but we wouldn't be in this place if our parents didn't make those decisions to get us in this country in the first place, you know, and get us access to the education that we've got in the first place. So, you know, I'm grateful for my parents.
Definitely, they planted the seed and it's
1000%.
growing and sprouting, right?
1000%.
You know,
1000.
so yeah, no, I always appreciate it. I
Yeah.
always appreciate. I always think it's important to just pay homage to parents, because I think it's very easy just to be like, but at the end of the day, we're here, right? We got the
1000%,
education, all of that
here,
sort of
bro.
stuff.
That's enough to,
you know,
to
the
celebrate it on
opportunities.
its own. Yeah.
Exactly. I wanted to understand. So, how did you and why did you start going into the financial services? So, you do still do your project management, but you also do something else as well,
and estate management. So the funny thing is, you know, for me, you know, again, it started from having a desire. Again, it was that place where I was at, where I was like, do you know what? Again, I'm working for money. Number one, I'm in debt. Now I need to get to a place where I no longer work for money, but money works for me. And so that became a big passion for me. And it became a big passion for me to make sure that, you know what, I've lived a life where I've had to struggle financially and I've made poor financial decisions. So my focus now became making sure that, as for me, and not just for me, but for my children and my children after, they never have to experience any type of financial distress like I've had to experience, you know. And that's where the whole notion of starting to think about generational wealth came into place for me. Not only did I want to secure my future, but actually I wanted to make sure that at least 2 generations after me, you know, were satisfied from a financial perspective. And so I got to that place again. That was basically shortly after I'd realized, you know what, this is not going well in terms of the way I'm currently managing my finances. And I put together a 10-year plan on how exactly me and my wife would get to where we want to get to. In 10 years.
10 years, that's mad.
We're looking at, you know, well, I call it about 12 years because, you know, I think we're about 2018 and I was looking at by 2030, where do we want to be? And again, it wasn't, what I would say to people is, you know, you have to get down to the detail, you know. And one thing that I did is I actually looked at what type of schools do I want my children to go to. Then I researched how much do those schools cost, how much do they cost on a monthly basis, what type of car do I want me and my wife to drive, how much would that cost on a monthly basis. And I put
vision board in.
A budget. So my 2030 budget,
2030 budget.
No, seriously, because
I've never heard of this before. I love this.
I needed to identify what does my life look like from a financial perspective in 10 years. How much money do I need to survive every month in 10 years? Because I have a life that I want to live, but what does that life actually cost me? And until you move from, you know, this is what the life will, you know, a lot of people have an idea and they have a vision board. Yes, vision boards are powerful, they're great. But get into the detail, because when you get into the detail, you would understand how far am I away from where I want to be, and how much do I need to be earning, how much money do I need coming in. And when I began to look at how much money I needed coming in, the question that I began to ask myself, and me and my wife began to ask ourselves, is, do we want to work for this money, or do we want this money to come to us through diverse means? You know, so that was the starting point for me. And then from there, I began to do a bit of forex trading.
Okay.
I was into forex trading, multi-level marketing. I was
Okay.
into all of that stuff, and lost quite a bit of money.
Okay.
I think many people would say, if they're honest, that you get into the forex trading, and then the issue is that you have a desire to get rich really quickly.
Yeah.
It becomes almost addictive, and you're into the adrenaline rush where you're making money. You see the money, you think I can make more money, and then it almost becomes like gambling. Where you lose the money, so now you put in more money to get the money back out. So I was doing that, a bit successful, a bit unsuccessful, a bit in the middle. And then, building connections. And again, from church, I started to make a name for myself in the church as the person that's kind of, encourages people to be entrepreneurial, encourages people to, look at diverse ways in which they can make money. And then someone from my church actually connected with me and said, you know what? I've got an opportunity, we're training people to be, insurance advisors.
Okay.
Would you be interested in the opportunity? And sat down with the person. Unfortunately, didn't go through it with that person, but another person. I met another person along the way, and I decided, you know what? I can do this on a part-time basis. I can help people. I know a lot of people that could use the service. A lot of people need help. A lot of people need advice. So I signed up, went on a training course, done the course, and then was qualified to get on the road and advise people on insurance services. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
a lot in there, isn't it?
There's a lot, but I mean, I love it. I love the detail, and thank you for correcting me on the vision board, because what you're saying is way more detailed. You're saying you've done your budget for 2030. That's insane. I'm gonna start looking at that. No, how long did that take you to do?
Well, it didn't take me long because, and the thing about it, it's always changing.
Okay.
So, for example, now, one of the things that we quickly identified was that we wanted our son to go to a private school.
Okay, that's that. I'm planning that. I haven't got children yet, but I'm planning that as well in the future.
We wanted him to go to a private school. Well, we want 3 kids anyway. So the first son, we wanted to go to private school, but we were initially thinking is we were just going to do private school, and then transfer him to grammar school.
Okay.
But then, so for example, just literally, I'm talking about literally like last week, my wife was talking to me about one of her second cousins who goes to a private secondary school. So they actually went to a normal secondary school, a normal primary school, but they went to a private secondary school on a scholarship.
Wow.
But in that private secondary school, the child of her second cousin goes to school with the owner of Gumtree.
Wow.
Yeah. So
they're okay.
So there's levels.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's levels.
And
yeah.
One of her peers, their parents own some type of hotel in central London.
Wow.
One of my auntie was like, she couldn't go to the hotel. They invited her. She couldn't go because if she goes there, she won't know what fork to use. So
the whole civil service thing,
she won't know that. So she declined, But for me, that now I heard that, and then that now became a conversation for me.
Yeah.
Actually, do you want him to not only go to grammar school, but do you actually want him to go to a private secondary school? So again, I had to now go research those secondary schools, those private schools. How much do they cost? £17,000 a term.
Wow.
Not a term, sorry, a year. £17,000 a year. So divide that now by a month.
Yeah.
How much is that? Put it in the spreadsheet. This is how much you would need to make.
Okay.
If you wanted him to go to that school.
Wow.
I'm conscious.
Yeah.
Now, all I have to do is work towards it.
Yeah.
And now every decision I make is geared towards that budget.
Wow.
Every financial decision I make is geared towards that budget. And one thing that it's been able to do is it's been able to slow me right down.
Okay.
As a person, it's been able to slow me right down to the point where I'm running a long race. Because it's a 10-year plan, I'm not trying to do it in 5 years. I'm not trying to do it in 2 years. I'm not looking to get rich quick. I've done that. And I've lost money, and I just don't think there's any value in it. But when you understand wealth, you understand that people build it over time through different sources of investments, leveraging certain financial, instruments and build it over time. So having that 10-year plan has been beneficial for me in that sense, rather than trying to get rich quickly and then you're running to this scheme, you're running to that scheme, you know, you're doing it all. I've done it. Thankfully, I've done it. So I've learned from it, you know, and I've done it and I've learned from it, you know, and that's me. I just want to be 100 with people, you know, but now I'm slow and I'm like, Sodiq, time is 10 years. There's a plan. Yeah. You'll get there.
Wow.
And that just settles me. So when I'm making decisions, again, I have a clear I have a clear understanding of how much I need to earn by what time, how much needs to be coming in by what time, and everything, any investment I'm making is centralized towards that 10-year plan.
Okay. Wow. I've got so many questions to ask about this 10-year plan.
Please,
because like because I always ask people like what's their 5-year plan in terms of their business themselves, but I don't think I've heard anybody. No, I had nobody on the podcast that spoke to me about a 10-year plan. So I'm very, very intrigued about it because I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
What if I told you that there was a platform that allows you to see how you're spending all of your money across all of your accounts, especially at a time where the cost of living is at its highest that it's been in years? What if I also told you that this platform also allows you to see how much income you are getting every month across all of your accounts, as well as helping you to set budgets for all of your expenses? It doesn't stop there though. This platform also helps you to send a record of your rent payments to Experian so that it is recorded on your credit report, which can help to boost your credit score. This platform sounds amazing, right? Well, this platform is called Money Hub, which you can download for free by tapping the link in my description. You get access to premium features free for 6 months, 6 whole months with no auto renew. And then if you decide that you love the app and the platform and you want to continue with premium features, then it will only cost you £1.49 per month. That is the deal of the century, right? Well, go and download the Money Hub app right now. How are you working? What things are you doing? I know we're going to go into real estate planning and being an advisor, but what things are you doing to work towards that?
The biggest thing for me is education.
Okay.
Now, what I want to say, there's a guy called Alfred Dadzi.
Yes, I think I follow him.
A property investor. And,
yeah.
You know, one thing I really, really respect about him is he invests money in himself.
Okay.
He just recently spent 25 grand to spend a weekend with Grant Cardone.
Yeah, I think I saw that video.
And, you know, a lot of people, you know, will rather spend 3 grand on a holiday to Bora Bora than do a course to get an upgrade in their salary.
That's true.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's true.
So for me, one of the biggest things I've realized is that the one of the biggest places initially that's going to be your foundation is your income.
Yeah.
Your income is going to be very, very important at the beginning. So what are you doing as a person to increase your income?
Yeah, that's true.
For me, I am looking at courses. I do courses for project management, you know, thinking about the next stage in project management. So right now, I'm not a project lead. I'm just a PMO officer. So what's the next stage beyond that is to be a project lead so that I can increase my income. When I increase my income, I don't have to do what we call lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
So I have surplus to make further investments.
Okay.
So for me, what I'm big on, again, even with the 10-year plan, the 10-year plan isn't necessarily for me about where I want to live or what I want to do. The 10-year plan for me is more about how much money do I need to make. That is the key focus. How much do I need coming in to sustain the lifestyle that I want?
Okay.
That is where the meat is, because everything I'm doing now is based on, okay, my wife, she wants to leave her work. How is that going to impact the 10-year plan? Is that going to slow us down or is that going to accelerate our journey?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not the detail is for me in the breakdown of the day to day. How much does life actually cost? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And obviously within that, because of because it's a budget, the budget is based on what car do I want to drive? Yeah. Okay. What house do I want to live in?
Can you tell me the car?
Well, the car that I want to drive at that stage, it will only be like a Range Rover.
Okay.
You know, a Range Rover is not. it's not a big car.
Yeah,
Do you know
it's
what I
not.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's not a
yeah,
big
yeah.
car.
It's
Like,
not for if you're planning 10
like,
years. Yeah,
like,
it's not
not,
crazy.
like, that's just a, like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and the thing is, I can, and along the journey, I may be able to do it earlier,
Yeah,
but is it the best time?
probably not. No.
And that's what I'm always using to inform my decision process. Is it the best time? How does my current decision-making process impact on my future?
Okay.
How will it impact on my kids' future? Because essentially, you know, one of the sayings that I heard again is that when you're getting in debt, you're borrowing from your future.
It's true.
Getting in
Everything
debt is
you're borrowing, you're
borrowing
getting the money
your
from
future.
somewhere.
So
Or
you're
time
going
from
to
somewhere.
pay that money
Yeah.
in the future. So
Yeah.
you're taking money from your future self with the decisions that you're making now.
Yeah.
Why don't you make decisions that give money to your future self, give
Yeah.
money to your future children, give money to your future kids? And that is what became the mindset for me. But again, what am I doing? Again, it's about education. You know, I'm
Love
looking
that,
into
yeah.
property investment, cryptocurrency. I'm just in the education stage.
Okay.
As much as I can get educated, and I understand that it's about diversification. I think probably the main place that I know that I will build my wealth will be property, just because I think property gives you the capital appreciation and the income on a monthly basis. So I really like that. You know, I really like that. You know, somebody could be living in a house, and every month I could be getting money just because you're living there.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, to me that is nice because I just want properties to pay. My mindset now is my child is going to private school. I need a house to pay for that.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Okay.
I need a house to pay for that. I'm not going to pay for that. My working is not going to pay for that. Tenants are going to move into a property that I own and they are going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And the money that I'm making, and again, whilst I'm growing up in my career ladder, that's surplus money because I have to work myself and work well. The first person I got to work out of a job is my wife, God bless her.
Yeah.
And then it's working myself out of
Yeah.
the
I love
income
that.
from assets, essentially.
Love that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm stealing that 10-year plan. I need to be
bro.
doing that. I need to
It
do that. I
has
need to look
bro,
at that
you know,
next.
it
That's
has to.
crazy.
And I actually presented a slide to my wife. It was literally,
Wow.
I literally wrote a slide and I said, this is what the last 5 years, the last 10 years look like. This is what I propose for the next 10 years.
Okay.
Are you involved?
Yeah.
And I pitched it like a project to her.
Wow.
I put it on our
That's
TV.
insane.
I put a presentation, put it on
Yeah.
our TV, and I presented the plan to her.
Wow.
And we're on the plan together because, you know, I couldn't be on that plan without her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I had to get her on board, and there were sacrifices that we're going to have to make along the journey. And, you know, we're making the sacrifices. We're making the sacrifices, and, you know, it will be rewarding in the long term. You know what I mean? But again, I say to people, you know, you need to get, your income needs to be strong, especially in this climate that we're in now.
It's crazy right now.
Your income needs to be strong. And if you don't have a strong income, then you need, you know, if you can get a second gig, get a second gig. You know, I definitely encourage it. But then also, you know, think about, you know, I'm saying to people now that you need to, if you can do a, you know, go back to your parents' house for a short period of time.
That's a good point,
Go
actually.
back to your parents' house. Save that money. Get yourself on the property ladder.
Yeah, that's true.
Pull back like a arrow. Pull yourself back to pull yourself forward.
Yeah, I like that saying.
Pull yourself back.
Yeah.
Pull yourself forward. Humble yourself. Go live with mum. Go live with dad.
Yeah.
They might be shouting at you to wash the plates. Wash the god plate, bro. Wash the.
I don't miss that
plate.
at all. I definitely don't miss
Don't,
that.
bro. But you know what I mean? If you're the space you're in, you know what I mean? If you're in a tech space, you're in the project management world, you're in the sales world, you know, we're fortunate enough to be making decent money. Decent money. But if you're not in those types of spaces, you know what I mean? And you're spending half your salary on rent.
Rent. Yeah.
Rent. You're not ownership, rent.
Yeah.
You're paying for my son's education.
That's true.
You're paying for somebody else
Yeah.
to live the lifestyle that they want.
That's very, very true.
How quickly are you going to be
yeah.
able to get where you want to get to?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The thing for me is you have to decide where you want to go, and you have to know what is it going to cost you to get to where you want to go. A lot of people know where they want to go, but they haven't considered the cost.
Yeah.
And because they haven't considered the cost, they're just living a life normally, and they're not going to get there at the time that they want to get there.
That's very, very true. That's very true. There has to be some sort of sacrifice.
There has to be, bro.
At some point.
There has to be, bro. Especially in this economy, bro.
Yeah, it's getting crazy as well.
There has to
very,
be, bro.
very
Nothing is not going to get better, bro.
No.
I'm sorry to burst.
It's gotten
bubble.
worse.
Yeah.
You know, we had the good times, and that's when we should have been. You know, I always say to people, like I was talking to people about a car, like a BMW. I was like, it's crazy. Like I now know that the price have gone up.
Yeah.
I said it's crazy that you could have been able to get this car for the price you could have gotten.
Yeah.
I think it was like a 2010 3 Series. Of like that price, if you think about it, I think it's like 4 or 5 grand.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, that was cheap. We just had it really good. We just didn't realize it.
Bro.
And now it's just caught up with us.
Yeah, bro.
You know, everything. And you're like, oh my God, this is what it is.
But if you don't wake up, bro, it will hit you again, bro.
Yeah.
Because things, bro, they're going to put up the price of the gas and electricity again.
Yeah.
You know,
in October,
again, bro.
Yeah, I got my bill. I wasn't happy with it. I was like, this is mad.
Bro, the gas has gone up.
Yeah.
Bro, it's gone up, bro. £260 on gas.
Yeah.
If you don't have money, you know, fortunately, you know, we're good, but there are people that are suffering.
Will struggle, yeah.
You know what I mean? And the only way you're not going to be amongst those people is if you're making better financial decisions and if you're well planned ahead and you're making sacrifices.
Yeah.
There's no way it's gonna, if you don't make sacrifices now, it's gonna catch you.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to get harder to get on the property ladder if you're not making those sacrifices.
It's very true. It gets harder every year.
100%.
Every year. It doesn't get no easier, like, 100%. You know, and it's a shame because you want everybody to be able to have the opportunity to get on there, but like it's like the world we're living in. Bro, it's just,
you see, for me, I just think life is life, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've just got this mindset that I just think you just play the cards that you're dealt with.
Yeah.
And you play them the best you can, but get as much knowledge as possible to play the hand the best way.
Yeah.
You know, that is the biggest thing for me, you know, because, you know, a lot of people complain that the game's rigged. And the game is rigged. Do you know what I mean? Like the game is decided by people, you know, who are in much more fortunate positions than most of the world. And they, again, have a great understanding of all the loopholes in the system because they created the system and they use it to their advantage. I don't hate from outside the club. I want to be inside the club.
You want to be inside the club,
inside the club. I want to understand the rules that are played in that club and play how they play because they created a system. There's a way to use the system to your advantage. Use the system to your advantage because the system will use you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's benefits, you know, of, for example, you know, if you're a business owner, you know, you can control how much tax you pay. Yeah. These are benefits.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
These are benefits. And this is how the rich are, you know, I think I was reading about Barclays. Was it Barclays? How they, I think they paid like 1% in tax.
I wouldn't be surprised.
1% in tax. Meanwhile, every month they're taking 40% from us in our salary.
It's crazy.
Big Barclays is only paying 1%. I'm not gonna hate. Do you know what I mean? I just want to find a way to pay 1%. That's the truth. I want to be in your club, bro. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, a lot of people would say, oh, for example, you know, I always like talking about it. For example, who was it? It was Rishak Sudi.
Yeah,
his wife. Who was she wasn't registered to pay tax in this country. Yeah. You know, and a lot of people were saying, how can his wife not be registered to pay tax in this country? This personally, I don't. Yeah. Personally, if I could not pay tax in this country,
I mean, if everybody couldn't pay tax, they wouldn't pay it. Let's be real, right? That's why we move. That's why some people move to Dubai, move to other places because nobody wants to pay it.
Like, right? I'm not hating her thing. You know what I mean? Her thing's set up in a way she can do that. My question is, how do I set my thing up in a way that I can do that? That's it. You know what I mean? I don't hate from outside the club, bro.
Yeah, no.
That's my opinion. You know what I mean? That's just
I completely agree with you. And I think it's just, I think you're right. I think it's just about getting on the right side. Where do you want to be, right? Like, and just educating yourself because without the education, you won't understand that these things are, you know, going on. You know, now I think this year, 2020 is what pushed people into the financial education, wanting to seek that because they're like, okay, now I've got all this money, what do I do with it? This year is now, okay, all the energy prices, okay, how do I save money? Like, how do I make more money? So every year something is happening. So yeah, education is definitely key. I wanted to actually ask you, so insurance and estate planning, why did you decide to go down, you know, that route in the financial services space?
Well, to be honest with you, those routes were the routes that were mainly open to me.
Okay.
And at level of being able the level of entry was a bit easier than every other route in terms of the amount of qualifications that you have to take. So I think for me it was a good starting point and a good area that I could grasp easily and relate to people easily. So when you think about insurance, we're really just talking about if things don't go the way you plan and you pass away, God forbid, or you have an accident, how do you make sure that your family's life doesn't change? Especially you got to think about it like this, as a father or as a husband or as a wife, whatever, you are the main breadwinner of your family. You've got a certain amount of money coming in every month. Let's say £1,500 is coming in every month. If you pass away, that doesn't change the bills. The bills are not going to change. The bank doesn't care if you've passed away. They're still going to ask for your 1,500 to keep your family going. And so for me, insurance is all about making sure that even in your absence, your family still feel your presence from a financial perspective. So for example, one thing that I always talk about is the fact that for my wife, I have a particular insurance plan, which means that she will get paid out a certain amount of money on a monthly basis. It's called a family income benefit. Now, what I really like about that is that my wife will receive, I can't remember how much it was. I think it's £2,500 every month up until she's 65. If I pass away. So
that's good.
I always say this as a joke, if any man moves into a house with my wife, my money's still talking in that house. You understand what I'm saying? If I, God forbid, I pass away, anything kicks off, I'm still putting 2,500 on the table. I'm still the breadwinner of that house because I got insurance out. I paid for that insurance. That insurance is speaking for me every month. My wife is patterned every month. 2,500 comes in. No matter what man is there, no matter what man isn't there, my wife is looked after. The life that I would have given her while she was alive, the same life I make sure she has in my absence. She shouldn't suffer, or my family member shouldn't suffer because I've gone. It's my responsibility. As I was alive, it would be my responsibility to make sure they're good. So if I'm passed away and there's an avenue that I can use to make sure they're good, that's what the insurance is there for. It's to make sure your family is good, if something happens to you.
I love that. I love that explanation. I think life insurance for me, when did I start learning more about it? I think maybe a few years ago, actually. I didn't really consider it. That's the truth.
Bro,
I'm going to be honest.
Bro, I had it, bro, at one point and I cancelled it, bro.
Did you?
I'll be honest with you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Before
Keeping
getting into insurance, I had it and I just thought, this is dead. Like, I'm paying for it every month. And, a lot of people have that mindset. I'm not seeing the benefit of it, because, you got so many other bills and the insurance is there. You're not seeing the need for it. You just think, I'm not going to die anytime soon. You just cancel it. Do you know what I mean? And people make that mistake. It has happened to some people where they've actually cancelled the insurance and passed away.
That's sad. That's proper sad. That's definitely sad.
I mean? Other people have cancelled it, realized, this person passed away, no insurance. Let me quickly come back and set my insurance up. Different things happen for different people, but for me, insurance is a realization that you have to come to that revelation on your own of the importance of insurance.
Wow, that's crazy. And then real estate planning, what is that?
So real estate planning is where you're making sure that your family inherit your property or inherit your assets or your estate. So your estate is made up of everything you own. So your estate can include your cats, your estate can include your dogs, your estate can include your jewelry, your gold. If you have fixed assets like houses, if you have even now cryptocurrencies classed as assets, any of your assets, estate planning is simply about making sure that your estate goes into the hands of the people you want it to go in. And then if you're going to go a bit further, it's about making sure it transfers without losing wealth. So for example, not a lot of people know that you've got something called the inheritance tax. So basically what that means is anything that you own. So what they do is anything
it's crazy, isn't it?
Above the value of 325k, it's subject to a 40% tax. So
that don't make no sense.
Let's say
you tax me before, you tax me on my way to accumulating it, and then you're taxing me on my way out as well.
Bro,
how mad is that?
That's the situation. That is. It's this the situation, the government's got to eat and they're going to eat from you, they're going to find a way to eat from you. And that's where you can use in estate planning to mitigate against some of these tax and actually have an understanding of how much tax will I have to pay, and some people use, insurance, to pay that estate that inheritance tax, so
Okay.
that they don't lose, the assets don't depreciate, or they
Okay.
don't lose a lot of their wealth from the estate. Some people use, trust funds and different instruments like that. So it's really about making sure that your wishes are declared, your wishes are clearly stated, and then we've put in a place a secure plan to make sure it goes to the right people. And in most cases, it's about making sure that it remains in the family for generations.
Okay.
So, for example, if you put in a trust, then it limits, how the children can spend the money, what they can use the money on, and it protects the estate so it can continue from generation to generation.
Okay.
It's about making sure that what you've worked hard for lives on, essentially.
Yeah.
And
Otherwise, people start fighting for it.
benefit, exactly, bro. And that is the worst situation, to be in, where children start fighting for it, and families start to be divided. Who's the best person to do what. Do you understand what I'm saying? And even when you're estate planning, it comes down to, you have to decide who the executor of your estate is. So who's the person that is actually going to pay all the outstanding bills that you have?
Okay.
Who's the person that's going to make sure, that your mortgage is paid off? Who's the person that's going to make sure that, who's going to look after your children?
Okay.
That's all in your will.
Yeah.
If you've got children, is it your auntie from, the Caribbean that you want to look after them? It's about thinking about, and a lot of the times when I sit down and I do estate planning with people, it's deep. You know what I mean? Because you're actually thinking, who do I actually have in my family that I trust with my kids? If I die now, who can actually look after my kids, and who would make my kids? Who's gonna give my kids the most similar lifestyle that I would?
Yeah.
Because that's deep, bro.
Yeah.
Forget about, because then you don't have control. Your control is removed. So the most control you can have is by looking at who's around you and making that decision. So, for example, I had one of my clients. She selected one of her cousins in America, and then she went to America recently. Then she went to America, and she called me and she was like, "Actually, take my cousin off, because though they love my children, I saw them with their own children, and I saw there was a level of anxiety that they had that I don't think they'll be able to deal with the pressure of looking after my child as well.
Wow.
So I don't take them off."
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But it gets you, again, these are things that is about your future. You need to think about your future.
It's
and
crazy.
You have to understand that life isn't promised.
Yeah, it's not.
Life isn't
It's
promised.
as sad as it is, right? It's not like a subject that a lot
Yeah.
of people want to talk about, but
Yeah.
we sometimes we have to do it because you
1000.
just never know what happens. And once you do it, you get over and done with.
1000.
That's it.
You have
You're
a
good.
peace. Once you do it,
Yeah.
you have a peace.
Yeah.
Bro. Once you do it, you feel good because you know what I mean? Like my peace, bro, is I know if I go, bro, my family is good.
That's good.
My family.
That's the best.
My child is good. My wife is not gonna suffer. My family is good, bro. Like I can walk around like a man. You know what I mean? If I live, it's gonna be better. You know what I mean? So they ain't got no incentive to kill me because I'm gonna do more alive than I will, you know, with the little insurance money that you're gonna get. I'm gonna give you way more alive than in insurance. But again, it's making sure that everything's planned in the worst of circumstances. And even you got something like power of attorney, which not a lot of people talk about, is if you are in a vegetative state, who can make the decision to switch off your life machine? These are things that we don't necessarily think about.
Yeah,
Who will be able to access your finances? A lot of people don't know that, if you're in a vegetative state or if you can't speak for yourself, the government can make decisions on your assets for you.
Wow. That's crazy.
Even if you're married.
Really?
If you don't both own the property, so for example, your husband and wife, you don't both own the property. The wife owns the property. The wife is sick, has to go into care. The government can decide what happens to her property.
Really?
Like they sell off her property or start to use the money from the property to pay for her care and her treatment.
Wow,
if the
that's
husband
insane.
has not got power of attorney over the wife.
That's mad.
So these are little things. The government can decide what treatment or what care home your mum or dad can live in, and you won't have a say in that whole process
insane.
because you don't have power of attorney.
Yeah.
These are things that people just are not aware of.
That's insane.
And
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, the thing is, we've not needed necessarily to be aware of it before because let's face it, we didn't really have assets to protect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as now this new generation, we've got a whole lot to protect. We worked hard. We're in a much better position. A lot of us, by the grace of God, we're homeowners. Do you know what I mean? And we need to protect that wealth. We need to make sure that if our children are going to inherit that wealth, we've planned strategically what is the best way to hand that wealth over without them having a big fat tax bill with it.
Yeah.
So for example, like my dad's owns about 3 properties. If we didn't sort out his inheritance tax, we would have been hit with like 200 bags. Inheritance tax, 200
That's mad.
bags.
And that's it. You guys,
we will have to find it or sell one property to pay for it.
That's insane. A lot of people don't know this. This is the thing. They don't know this.
If you don't know, you're gonna get stung.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you can plan it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can think about it. You can have conversations. Even if you're paying for insurance, so that when that inheritance tax bill comes, the insurance money is what you use to pay for the inheritance tax bills. There's ways to go around things, but it all starts off with a conversation. And even, a lot of young people as well should be considering insurance, especially, when it comes to health insurance or when it comes to a lot of young people. I talk to them mainly about critical illness.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have, get like a cancer, or heart attack or stroke, they will pay out a lump sum, usually 2 times your salary, so you can pay for private treatment. You don't have to rush back to work, all those types of things. That's where, having insurance comes in handy, and you can protect your income as well. Income protection.
Wow. You said so much. Like, I was thinking, like, how do you navigate the conversations? Because it's a daunting conversation. We're having a conversation, right?
Yeah.
So how do you navigate those conversations with your client to make them see the benefits of, real estate planning, insurance?
In most occasions, my clients come from platforms like this.
Okay.
So they've heard me speak.
Okay.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. In most occasions, they've already heard me speak.
Okay. So that's good.
And then they're interested. So they want to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Then it's just about getting to the nitty gritty.
Okay.
So that's it for most occasions. On most occasions, clients are coming to me and they have a recognition of what it is. Or I speak at different events. So I'll speak at churches.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'll speak at community events.
Yeah.
And I'll just raise awareness, essentially, just be a voice crying in the wilderness, spreading the information to people and letting people know. And then again, it's then for people to get in contact with me and then let me know if they want to have the conversation. It's not something you can force down people's throats. It's such a sensitive topic.
It is
such a sensitive matter that, it has to be dealt with a level of wisdom. But at the same time, there's a great level of urgency to it. And people, the thing is, if you're a hard-working person, and you have assets, it's in your best interest to protect them.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
If you've got the wisdom to acquire, have the wisdom to maintain.
Yeah. Completely agree. And I agree. I think it's when people are ready. It's not about it's not about forcing it down people's throats. Definitely.
Sensitive.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this question before we kind of wrap up.
Yeah.
What does leaving a legacy behind mean to you?
For me, like I said, again, the name's Mr. Generational Wealth. So for me, it's all about generational wealth. So what that looks like, particularly for me, is one thing that me and my wife agreed is 100,000 in cash for each child and a property for each child at minimum.
Okay.
At minimum.
Okay.
So once they turn, I think we're looking at either 13. Once they turn 13, we'll be able to say to them, this is what pays for your education.
Okay.
Each one of them will have one house. This is what pays for your education. Once your education is done, that's your pocket money.
Okay.
Now, you can do what you want with that. And then, by the grace of God, when they're getting married and they're making all those big movements, we give them 100 grand in cash each, by the grace of God.
Okay. Wow.
That's the desire.
I love that.
That's the desire.
We're going to come back in 10 years.
Yeah, and see, that's the desire.
And speak about it.
Well, they're not, thankfully, the 100 grand's not due for another 20 or so years. So
the 100 grand bill.
I got time to accumulate the 100 grand.
300k is not due yet.
I got time to accumulate the 100 grand, the 300 grand. But no, at least the properties were well on the way to acquiring those properties. You know what I mean? So the properties should be done within the next 10 years. Okay. You know what I mean? Every one of them should have one property that we can say, that's your property. And that pays for your education. Once you've finished education, you can use the income for whatever you want. And then obviously by that time, if I haven't used the equity in those houses myself, then they will have equity in those houses. They can use that to start building their thing. But for me, the biggest thing for me is making sure my children don't have to worry about money. And my children's children don't have to worry about money. I've set you up, You know, you have no excuse now, you know, to fail. And again, it's giving them the best life possible.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not just about money. You know, if I give you money, you just have money, you can squander it.
Yeah.
But my mindset is what I need to give you. You need to have my mindset. You need to think. You need to be hungry. You need to see how can I multiply? How can I elevate? How can I make more? You know, that is generational wealth to me. And of course, you know, them receiving the same beliefs and sharing my faith, that's all a part of what generational wealth looks like to me. So it's not just about money. It's about them having a mindset, you know, that they know that they can do all things. You know, there's no limit on their mind. There's no limit to what they can achieve. You know, they can excel beyond their wildest imagination. They can sit at any table and they can add value to any table that they sit at. You know, and for me, that is what I'm trying to instill in my son from a young age. Be confident. I want you to be confident. I want you to, I put him around my family. And I love it when he's around my family because we're all very outspoken.
Okay.
We're all shouting at the top of our lungs to get our point across. And I want you to see that. Yeah. I want you to be around people, my family, and I want you to see that we are very opinionated. We know how to communicate. We all, you know, are doing well at whatever we've chosen to put our hands to. You have a picture of successful people in your environment, and we expect you to produce after that. Yeah. And we put him in that environment. And for me, everything with my children or with my son will be about putting him in environments that stretch his mind and mean that he has no limits in the way he thinks. Yeah. He can sit at any table confidently, articulate himself, add value at any table. That's what I want him to know. Any table he sits at, he's a person of significance. Yeah. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. Yeah. Speak with so much passion.
Yeah, bro. That's bro. It has to be that way, bro. It has to be that way. That's my seed, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's my seed. Yeah. You know, and it's one of the biggest blessings is being a father, bro. You know, being a father, being a husband, and looking at your child, and you know, your decisions, my decisions now will impact what will happen to his future. Yeah. And that's not something I take lightly. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That is not something I take lightly. You know, we are all a result of the decisions or the indecisions that our parents made, you know, and I refuse by the grace of God not to make too many, you know, mistakes, you know, that are so detrimental that they don't allow him to be everything he's called him to be. My job is to give him the best environment to flourish and grow. Yeah. That's my job. And I take it very personally. That's generational wealth.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I wanted to end on this. Yeah. Because it's been great having you on the episode. You so many gems. I definitely want to do a part 2 soon.
Thank you.
With you. Yeah. So I wanted to end with, what's your greatest financial achievement, would you say? I know we'll talk about some more in the future.
The greatest financial achievement is getting a mortgage, but that's not.
You're like, that's it is for some people.
I mean, it's a mortgage, bro. Like, I mean, it's a great achievement. Don't get it twisted, but
it was one step.
Yeah, it's one step up the ladder. But I mean, that's probably the greatest financial decision I can point to. You know, is getting a mortgage, securing that mortgage. But it's not a big thing. Like, I don't know.
It's not a big thing now, but at the time when you were stressing about it.
You're right. Actually, you're right. You know,
I remember the stress.
I was trying to climb that ladder, bro. We was banging doors we was trying to get that through, you know. There were certain delays and you were just like, move that now. You know, my solicitor, I needed you to move that now. So I guess, that is the biggest, you know, the biggest thing. And I guess getting out of debt, you know, I think beyond the mortgage, it's getting out of debt and putting myself in a place where we can get the mortgage. Yeah. That was probably the biggest achievement from a financial perspective. Climbing out of debt and being in a place where we could, you know, get on the ladder and do what we're doing now.
That's a big achievement. That's the thing. That's a fantastic achievement to be able to, you know, get out of a hole and then you know, be all right and then actually get to a place where a lot of people, you know, are struggling to get to.
Yeah,
so,
bro.
Yeah, defo agree with that. So what's next for you?
Bro, what's next is I mean, it's property, crypto, all of it is next, you know. Me personally, you know, I've got my eyes on a couple property investments. I'm really watching the crypto market. I think I missed the first bull run. Yeah. And you know, crypto's crashing now. I've been patiently waiting
opportunity
for it to crash.
Yeah.
And I'm excited by the crash.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because it means
A lot of people
I
are,
can
yeah.
get in again
Yeah.
for cheaper, you know, and ride it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, those are the main things that are next for me, and just helping as many people as I can along the journey, you know. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to come on podcasts like this, because, you know, I do think that, you know, there's a certain level of passion that I speak with, and
Yeah.
my you know, I'm just real. I
Yeah.
believe anyway. I'll just
Yeah.
share, you know, the mess ups, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
It is what
Yeah.
it is. And I just hope to be able to inspire and encourage a lot more people on this journey, and meet a lot more people and learn a lot more. I think that's my biggest desire.
Yeah, no, it's been great having you, and it's been great hearing your story. And like you said, like for me, I want to keep the podcast authentic. So there's no shame. Like I said, L's, right? We all go through L's. We all go through, you know, issues sometimes, but like we're able to then overcome it. And this is why I wanted to get you on, but we're gonna get you for part 2. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Generational Wealth UK. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Generational Wealth UK again. Those are the main 2 platforms I use, and I got my website mrgenerationalwealthuk.com. But mainly Instagram is where you find me. Been a bit slow on the content this year. This is my first podcast this year, actually.
Wow.
Been a bit slow just because of work and stuff like that. But hope to do more podcasts, put a little bit more content out there for people and engage with people. So hit me up if you want any advice, any help. Hit me up. We can have a conversation. Conversation is free, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we'll put his details, and obviously it'll be across all the socials as well. Now it's been great having you. Do you have any final words for the listeners?
Yeah, man.
And watchers.
I think the final words is go get it, man. Go get it. I mean, don't be scared. Money don't make no money. That's one thing I would say. Don't do lifestyle creep as well, man. That's a big thing, man. Don't. You know, try and keep as much of your money in your pocket as possible so you can invest and make, you know, moves for your future. You know, don't sacrifice tomorrow for today. That's my biggest thing. Don't sacrifice tomorrow for today, and analyze the decisions you're making and see where you're robbing yourself in the future. Don't rob yourself of the future. Invest. Send money to your future so that your future self will be grateful.
Wow. What a powerful message. And that was a theme of, you know, this podcast. Thank you so much, Sodiq.
Thank you, bro, man.
For joining. And, you know, even though I'm glad that this was your first podcast because you just came with that fire, came with that,
Thank you, bro,
with that passion,
Thank
you know,
you.
your story. Like I said, your story is inspirational. Like, you know, I was saying, podcast, we want to inspire people, want to educate people, which we've done on both of those, and we want to keep it real. You know, you were honest, and I think a lot of us, we like, you know, especially social media, we like to, you know, say, oh, we're always good, filter this, filter that. It's not always like that. Sometimes we need to you know, look at the real life and understand sometimes life's going to be a struggle, but it's okay. We're going to get a bit better as well. So it's been great having you, listeners. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and we're back in the studio, and this is where we're going to be from now on. So thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.